if you're in the top 0.1% of earnings when you graduate from college, your wages actually grow 14 times faster than it would if you were to graduate in the bottom 90th percentile. That means for 90% of the people, their wages have only grown by about 24%, going all the way back to 1979. So I want to talk about something that's probably near and dear to your heart if you're someone that's following me, because you're probably following me because you want to get into investment banking. And if you want to get into investment banking, it's probably because you're currently a college student. So as a college student, you're probably already aware that college tuition is insanely expensive, right? It's been getting more and more expensive over the years. In fact, in the last 30 years, it's actually doubled, okay? In terms of even adjusted for inflation, it's doubled. So it's twice as expensive for a family to send their kids to college today than it was 30 years ago. For private school, it's more expensive than public school. It goes from, went from $26K to about 50 grand a year. And even if you go to public school, it's gone from about 10 grand to about $22,000 a year. So college tuition has been going up like crazy. Despite that, though, parents are still spending all this money to send their kids to college. Why? You're sometimes sending, $100 plus, $200 plus $1,000 even to send their kids to school, because we all know that if you go to college, you're going to make a lot more money than if you were to only graduate from high school, right? So essentially, college tuition, it's viewed as an investment in your career, in your future, right? If you spend this money now, you're going to make more money in the future for the rest of your career, anywhere from 58 to 80% more, in fact. Okay, so that seems like, okay, it's a great investment, right? It's worth it. That's why people do it, even though it's super expensive. However, what you have to understand is that not everyone who graduates from college today is doing equally well, okay? Maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, just because you graduated from college, that made you special because maybe not everyone had a college degree. Today, it's pretty much a given that most people have college degrees. And so if you look at this chart, if you're in the bottom 50th percentile, like if you're just at the median, okay, if you're in the median out of your peer group in terms of your earnings after college, your purchasing power today based on your income has actually basically stayed flat from what it was back in the 2000s. That's 20 years ago. Your purchasing power hasn't increased at all, right? If anything, the value of your degree has decreased. Now, if you're in the top 90th percentile, or even if you're just average, then yes, your purchasing power has gone up anywhere from 9 to 15%, and that makes more sense, right? However, because of this, right, because this bottom 50th percentile here, their purchasing power are kind of staying flat. At the same time, prices have been increasing, right? So if you want to live in some of these metropolitan cities after you graduate, like New York City or San Francisco or the coastal cities, that's where the young people want to live. However, the rent in those places have been skyrocketing, right? It's getting more and more expensive and harder to afford it. And so a lot of students, they're actually not able to afford to live on their own. They're not able to become financially independent even after they graduate with a college degree. And so if we look at the census data, going back to 1960, the percentage of 18 to 24-year-olds, which is this blue line, that has moved home to live with their parents after graduating has increased from about 36%, which is about 1 out of 3, to now 50% as of 2014, which is 1 out of 2. And we don't have data beyond 2014, but if you extrapolate out to where we are today in 2020, it's probably even higher than that. So 1 out of 2 of your college classmates are probably going to end up moving home to live with their parents after they graduate, which not only sucks for you or for the kids, for the students, because nobody wants to move home with mom and dad after they graduate. They want to be independent, but it also sucks for the parents because now it's going to delay their retirement. Right? And so how do you avoid that? Well, the way you avoid that is you got to make sure that you graduate with the highest paying job possible, because if you're in this chart, it shows if you're in the top 0.1% of earnings when you graduate from college, your wages actually grow 14 times faster than it would if you were to graduate in the bottom 90th percentile. That means for 90% of the people, their wages have only grown by about 24%, going all the way back to 1979. Okay, but if you're in the top 0.1%, it's grown by 341%. Even if you're only in the top 1%, it still grows by 158%. So if you graduate and get into investment banking, you're gonna be in the top 1%, if not the top 0.1% even, right? And that's gonna put you on this yellow trajectory, if not the blue trajectory. But if you're, everybody else, basically, your trajectory looks more like this. This is what it's looked like for the past call it 40 years, right? In fact, your wages are growing only at 24% when your college tuition expenses have been doubling, all right, over the last 30 years. And so that's when college becomes a really bad investment, because the ROI is just not worth it, right? So that's why it's so important for you guys to make sure you get the highest paying job when you graduate, so that your college tuition does not go to waste, okay? Hey there, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're looking for more customized advice that's tailored for your specific situation, then I invite you to book a free strategy session with our team at the link below. We'll talk to you soon.